Good morning and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. In the year 2000, I was blessed to be given a trip to Israel. In fact, it was such a grand gift that my only expenses were any purchases that I chose to make. I bought a group of small olive wood communion cups and shipped them home, and then on Maundy Thursday that year, we used them for communion at the church, and everyone got to keep their cup. I bought 3 nativity sets in Bethlehem, one for Nan and me, one for each of our boys, and one for each of our boys. I bought pictures and postcards and slides and things that would help me tell the story over the years. But that left me with the question, what did I want to buy for me, for a special something for me to have from Israel? It really didn't take long for me to decide that I wanted a shofar. A shofar is a ram's horn that has been hollowed out and you blow it. Here's mine, and although I'm not good at it, here's what it sounds like. It might take a moment to get my lips just right. I don't blow it very often, but here we go. I wanted a shofar because in the Bible they blow a shofar to call people to worship and to announce the coming of the Messiah. I couldn't imagine a better thing to have as my own souvenir. But a shofar wasn't the only instrument they had. In fact, in Numbers 10, Moses is instructed to make 2 trumpets of silver, and they were used to call people to worship or to signal the Hebrew people to break camp as they traveled from place to place. Which made me start to wonder about other musical instruments they had in Bible times, and in particular, Old Testament times. Turns out they had a lot. It seems that some of the oldest instruments they had were drums, of course. But some others that are ancient are bells and cymbals, and interestingly, shakers or castanets. These would be used simultaneously in a cacophony of sound. On Monday, we talked about the father of musicians named Jubal, and he was known as being skillful in playing the pipe. This was an instrument similar to the flute, where you passed air over an opening to provide a pitch. Little did I know when I was a child and I blew air over the end of a Coke bottle that I was following in Jubal's footsteps. As I've already mentioned, they had horns and trumpets which were used for calling people to worship and for signaling certain actions. You might use them in war to signal different kinds of actions to your troops. Remember charge or sound the retreat, for example? Or they might signal when it was time to pack up and head out to a camp. One of the oldest instruments is a tambourine. We saw that on Tuesday, that Miriam danced and sang while playing a tambourine. Another well-known Bible time instrument was a lyre or a harp. These were often used much like a guitar is today and accompanied many psalms. David played the lyre and soothed King Saul's angry and depressed moods. Finally, I want to mention the sackbut. You've probably never heard of a sackbut before. I certainly hadn't either. But it turns out that this was an instrument something like a trombone with a slide. I think it's a good thing I didn't know about this in high school, or the trombone would have been called a sackbut instead. Ancient Israel used all these instruments throughout their history and worship. The Bible is full of times when one or more of these instruments were made or used, and their importance is hard to overstate. Music was a vital part of the life of Israel and central to their worship. May we be the instruments God plays to sound out God's melody of grace and service in our world. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.